Welcome, everybody, and good evening to That's Good Pasta, your weekly podcast about creepypastas, I guess. And with me, as always, is my co host.
Jared.
Yes, we got it. First try. Good job, Jared. I'm proud of you. We've come a long way. Come a long way.
It's just it's
Anyway,
just it's just a bad part of the show, to be honest.
tonight we are doing a review of a creepypasta by the name of My Dog Was Lost for 3 Days by the amazing Chewing Skin, all one word, by the way. Um, this creepypasta is actually one of my, I don't want to say it's one of my favorites, but it's one that actually kind of scared me a little bit. So I'm going to do a quick synopsis of the plot. So it starts in good old Canada, apparently, and he gives some specifics. I don't know if they're real or not because I don't live in Canada. And it's
All I
about this.
know is that it rains maple sugar syrup,
It's true.
and there's Canadian bacon everywhere.
Canadian bacon grows on trees there. You
Mm,
can just pluck it right off the vine.
that's pretty
You
much
know,
all I know.
that's at least that's what the what do you call it? Those commercials come to Canada things tell us. So on that, it starts off with this young man who has a hunting dog named Sandy. How dare you silence your phone? My
You
God.
never do it at Alamo, so now what?
I always do it, sir.
I always have to raise a comment card and be like, "Hey, shut this
My
man
bad.
up."
This man goes out into the woods. He has a hunting cabin that his family has, and he takes his dog along, and he likes to go up there for I don't know how long. He said like weeks at a time, something like that.
I'm about to go on a tangent. I'm sorry because
Okay,
this has
go
been
for
on my mind, and I need to get it out there on the internet. Have you
it. Mm.
seen that? What is it? Kia commercial where the
Mm-hmm.
little girl is doing the ice skating thing at her competition,
Mm-hmm.
and she sees that a seat is empty. So the dad, this rich dad, and his electric car take the little white child up to the cabin, and the granddad has like this cabin with its own lake, and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, we'll just do it here." So he runs this whole electrical system off of the car, and the rich granddad, gets to see the daughter or the granddaughter do stuff, and I'm like, "This, I hate this."
This is the most privileged people I've ever seen. And okay, I will give it that. Like this whole opening of it, he's like, "Yeah, we had this cabin up in the woods that we always go up there." And like everything that he says basically says that he's like a man of means. And I'm like, I cannot relate to this guy really at all. But the thing is, I can kind of relate to it because my family did have a cabin in the woods for a while. It was not as exotic, I guess, as this one he's saying, but it was this little cabin that we had. Um, so it did have it was very isolated, I guess is the only thing I can really relate to. Jared, you've been there,
Yeah.
so in your home state of New Mexico. Um, so this guy goes up there and he does some hunting. Oh Lord, there it is.
Is he a son, baby?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Texas pride, boy. Um, So this guy goes up to Canada, or he's in Canada. Well, he goes up to Canada, yeah. He goes up to his cabin and he's like hunting there with his dog, and his dog's like apparently his dog is like his best friend because he gushes about like this isn't anybody, this is my family. I'm like maybe you should make some friends there, sir. But okay. Anyway, he goes up there and he kind of notices that the woods are surprisingly quiet. Like nothing, there's no like life, there's no critters, there's no sounds really, so it's kind of freaking him out a little bit. And this one night, he's kind of just sitting there on the porch, and his dog's with him, and the dog kind of gets all like
Spooked.
afraid and spooked, yeah, and just kind of takes off into the woods. He's like, "Oh well, that's Sandy. He just does what he wants to. He'll be fine." Which, by the way, if my dog did that in those woods, I'd be like,
Get my gun.
well, okay, I will get to the gun in a minute. Um, so the night passes. Sandy doesn't come back, but he's like, "Yeah, that happens every now and then. He'll be fine." So Next morning, he wakes up. Sandy's still not there. He's gotten a little worried. And then nightfall comes again, and he sees the two glowing eyes of Sandy out in the darkness. He's like, oh, okay. Hey, Sandy, what's going on, boy? So he lets him in, but Sandy's walking kind of weird. His back is kind of like distorted and it's like moving and not really good shape. So he thinks he's hurt. So like, hey, come over here and sit down. And Sandy just kind of like just stares at him the whole time, just like that, the whole time. He's like, he didn't come up to me. He wasn't happy. He wasn't wagging his tail. It was creeping me out. He makes him food. Sandy doesn't eat the food, and he just sits down and just watches him the whole night. He's like, okay, I'm gonna go to bed now, Sandy. Night. Closes the door to his bedroom, and then he hears Sandy with his little nails clicking at the door, just kind of watching him. He's like, well, that's kind of creepy. Wakes up the next morning. Sandy's still in the exact same spot, just staring at him. He's like, okay, cool. So grabs his little shotgun and goes out into the woods to try and do some hunting. And apparently he finds, when he gets a little deeper into the woods, he finds this killing ground, I guess is a good way to say it. All these animals, like tiny animals, like birds and squirrels, and I think a deer is what he said, had been like skinned
Yeah.
from the inside out, and they're left there with no insides, no nothing. They're just piles of skin. So this freaks him the F out. Runs back to the house. Sandy's still sitting there, and he's like, okay, this isn't normal. So he's like, you know what, I'm gonna leave tomorrow because I don't like this. I'll take Sandy, maybe get him checked out. So he closes the door for the night, and then he hears a whistling outside, and he realizes that that's like his whistle. So he kind of peeks out a little bit, and Sandy is, so the front door is open. Sandy's standing there, but he's like elongated. He's too long.
He hears Sandy outside go,
Yeah, he's hearing
and
Sandy
then
whistle.
he's like,
yeah,
stop
but
watching me, Sandy.
and Sandy, because Sandy isn't looking at him at the moment, but he's like whistling out into the darkness, and this like deep and like unearthly voice goes, Sandy. He's like, well, that's all I need to see. Don't really want to mess with that. So he closes the door for the night, locks it, and the next morning he bolts open. Sandy's not there, but the fridge has been riled through. All the meat's gone. That was an odd thing to point out. He rushes to the car. He's like, but I can't leave Sandy. No, I have to leave Sandy. I'm like, dude, Sandy's gone, man. Sandy's gone. So he's driving down the road, and suddenly his car gets hit with a deer's head all of a sudden in the back window. And he's like, well, that's creepy. Goes back home. And this is also, by the way, if you want to rag on this guy for being rich, he's like, I went home and my home is on the edge of the forest. I'm just like, oh, cool. So you have a location home. Nice. Cool. So for the rest of the night, he can hear a whistling out into the darkness. I can't whistle very well. Can you whistle, Jared?
Not really.
Wow, we need Alex here. And yeah, there's a whistling out into the night. He's just like, well, it's out there. I don't know what it is, but it's out there. And then it ends. So also there was lots of lightning for some reason. At least the recording I
Because
listened
it's
to.
spooky.
There was random lightning. I'm like, oh no. So, Jared, give me your feelings about this one. What'd you think?
Okay, I'm gonna get a lot of flack on this episode. I'm not the biggest fan of this creepy pasta. This guy holds on to hope a little too long.
I know.
As soon as my dog starts acting like a different dog, I'm like, it's got rabies or something. I'm gonna put this thing down. But this one's like all like wearing skin and like elongated, and it's like I would have shot that thing.
Something is obviously wearing this dog's skin.
Yeah. This honestly just points out like the worst traits of dog owners. Because I always tell this to people. I'm like, cat owners, I'm a cat owner. We're like, oh, that thing's a piece of crap, but we love it. Dog owners, they're like, oh, my dog does nothing wrong. Even when it's like biting the guest, it's so good. It's like it can't do wrong, and I'm just like, no, it's a little piece of crap. Just admit it, please. And I feel like it's like it points out those tendencies in this one. It's like, dude, that is not your dog. Give up on your dog. Shoot this thing. It ate all the meat. Plus, it ate all the meat. I would have killed it for that, even if it was still a dog.
Ow.
Like,
You stole my T-bone, Sandy. You must die.
All that fresh venison, Sandy, you gotta go.
Okay, okay. So, because I'm the gun dude, so I laughed when he's like, I loaded up my 410 and I went out searching. I'm like, so 410 is a shotgun. It's like the smallest shotgun shell you could ever own. It's like this skinny and about that long.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's for like birds and like maybe
Pheasants.
rabbits, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he's like, I loaded up my 410 and I went out. I'm like,
I'm ready for bears.
I'm like, good on you, because I wouldn't shoot that at a person, because it'd be like, what are you doing? So, yeah, it just made me laugh a little bit. But yeah,
But to be serious, I think this one has good ideas. Like, I feel like that's a good idea. It could have been handled a little bit better, I guess.
yeah,
But I like how it's not. He didn't kill it. It's still out there. I love the deep voice thing. Like, it's kind of like.
That's probably my favorite part, honestly, because that honestly was like the most creepy part of it. Is just the otherworldliness of what he let into his house. I'm just like, well, I've messed up.
It's
Oops.
like it's like that movie. It's not Arrival. What's the other one with Natalie Portman?
Annihilation.
Annihilation. It's like that with the
Yeah.
bear that can mimic
Bear,
humans.
yeah. Yeah, I think this is why that one scene in particular is the one scene that kind of freaks me out a little bit. Because like the whole story is kind of like contrite and oh, you're kind of silly. Like also you're stupid. Just shoot the damn thing. But that one scene, I'd be like, I'm afraid to shoot this thing. I don't know what this is now.
Yeah.
And also like the part where he goes to the killing ground and finds everything. But I will say that if I saw that, I would just get straight into the truck and drive away. I wouldn't go back into the house and wait. Be like, nope, something's out here. I don't know what, and I don't want to find out.
Yeah.
But I do like the setting for this too, though, because like me and you have been to the a cabin in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. That's always
And-
creepy. Just that alone.
Yeah. Well, and when especially like we were like hiking and stuff, and like there would we'd come across not like an area, but just like we would be in this one spot where there was like no sound. It was
Yeah.
just us, and we're just like, this is genuinely kind of creepy. So
And I remember like going on walks alone. You'd be like, "Oh, just take the gun just in case." And I'm like, "I don't need a gun."
Yeah.
But then you hear like a coyote, and you're like, "I need the gun."
I need the gun. The gun might be a good idea, or a person.
Or you
'cause
come
we had that.
you come across a Jurassic Park employee, and you're like,
So quick side tangent for me and Jared. We were walking up in the mountain, and this guy comes in a gas-powered Jeep straight out of Jurassic Park.
had the
And he comes up
glasses.
to-
He had the glasses and everything.
He had the glasses of Newman, and he's like hillbilly as hell. And he has a crossbow sitting like a loaded crossbow sitting on the passenger seat. He's like, "Y'all see any pigs?" And we're just like, "No." He's like, "All right, well."
And he's like,
Yeah,
"I
look-
do." And he just-
Yeah. And I was kind of like reaching for my pistol. I'm like, "Yeah, I haven't seen any pigs, man." Good on you. And I'm like, we should go back to the cabin because this is getting creepy. So things happen in the woods, guys. Random stuff happens in the woods. And I remember like at one point, me and my grandmother were up there, and we were just sitting in the living room. I think we were just watching some TV or something. Funny enough, the VHS thing, the VHS player, that was a thing we had in our cabin. And we were like watching some movie, and we had the windows open because it was hot. But then we hear this. I'm like, that's a bear. Close the window. Close the window. Close the window. Close the window.
Hide the pies, Grandma.
Yeah. So hide the honey. It's coming. But I do like this setting because
Yeah.
like forests and like stuff kind of freak me out a little bit. But the stuff like I like the woods, but they still kind of scare me type stuff.
Yeah, it's
So-
the unknown.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's great ideas in this. I just feel like the writing's a little try hard at times.
It's a little uneven. That's for
Mm.
sure. Because he had like some cool parts, like that part, or the Sandy,
Yeah.
the killing field, and even when Sandy's coming back in from like the darkness and he's like moving weird, I'm like,
Yeah.
that's kind of a freaky. Because if you have a dog, because or I'm a former dog owner, but I'm a dog person. You've seen your dog hurt its back a little bit and it's kind of walking funny. Like you've seen that happen. I'm like, oh, that's very relatable. I've seen my dog hurt itself, and so it kind of walks weird. I'm like, yeah, I understand what he's going through. Um, I don't know about the greatest dog in the world because if we had a problem dog, we got rid of the dog. So
Yeah.
unlike your cat owners who just keep on like, oh no, it's a piece of crap, but we love it anyway. Like, oh, okay.
He's talking about how Sandy's acting different, how he just stares, how he just waits at the door. I'm like, that's just Luna.
Okay.
He turned into a cat.
Oh God, that's what killed it.
Cat dog.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I got for this one. What about you?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much all I had to say.
All right.
I just really needed to get that Kia commercial out of my system.
That is a terrible.
I was just in the theater with my popcorn. I was like, "Jeez."
Enough of this white privilege.
That's the one time I was like, "Man, God, dude, just check your privilege."
All right. Okay.
You want to do the submarine one next time? You said you found it?
Yeah, the one from the No Sleep podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can do that one. I can get that to you.
Sweet.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for all the likes and subscribes. We really appreciate it. And yeah, tune in next time for more good pasta. So, bye.